What's up, everyone, and welcome to your Friday's edition of Reptile News. Now, today, we're going to start off on a real cool one, but I'm going to tell you first, I don't know if I'm going to post this. I'm doing a trial run to see if the timing and everything all works out. I think it's probably going to. I'm probably going to post this. If the timing works out, Monday will be our first official video, or I don't know, maybe I'll make this one live and we'll just call that today. But today, we're going to start off on an amazing Head Start release in Jackson, Mississippi, where nearly 40 I can't English today, where nearly 40 gopher tortoises were released out into the wild. Now what they do is they keep them for 2 years until their shell hardens and until they grow a little bit. They do the same thing, and I think it's Washington up here with the western pond turtles. I just love these Head Start programs. Basically, they keep them in captivity until they are big enough to where, you know, most of their natural predators can't really eat them anymore. From what I understand with the western pond turtles, they're the most susceptible, you know, within the first year after they hatch. And I even believe up there, I don't know what they did here, but up there they actually go in the wild and collect the eggs, bring them in, incubate, then release. So it's an amazing story. They say that these I think it was 38 tortoises, total, were released near burrows of adults, and within an hour a lot of the babies started to burrow themselves. So that's awesome news coming out of Jackson, Mississippi. I really look forward to hearing a lot more about this. And now we're going to move up quite far north with a pretty devastating story about Westman's Reptile House, which had a devastating fire at about 7 p.m. Wednesday night. Now, out of the total 9 buildings on the property that caught fire, 5 of them were completely destroyed, and apparently hundreds and hundreds of rodents that they used to feed reptiles were lost in the fire. And they're saying out of the hundreds of rodent cages that they had full, they were only able to save 29 of them. Now, apparently this fire is believed to have been started by a spark from an electric fence, and we have talked so many times in the past about how quick, I mean, if you look at a lot of our reptile collections, we use power. We have heat lights, we have heat pads, we have heat rocks. We use stuff that has pretty high current draws, and you got to be really, really careful with that. Now, I don't know in this particular situation where an electric fence comes into play with their operation. I've never been there, but it just goes to show. You guys remember we talked, God, it's been several years, but where actually a heat light on an iguana cage came in contact with a towel, and that's really all it takes. I myself have had a huge fear many years ago, and I've talked about this story in the past, where I needed to heat a reptile and I didn't have the proper heating mat. Well, in the meantime, until I got the proper heating mat, I put a human heating pad underneath the cage. It was on a wood shelf, and I put it underneath the cage, turned it on low. Reptile was happy, I was happy, everything was great. Until several days, maybe even a week or two later, I finally got the proper heating pad, and when I picked up the cage and removed the human heating pad from the shelf was charred, and it scared the hell out of me. So you can never be too careful, and these things can escalate so quickly. So just please keep an eye on your collections, keep an eye on everything that's plugged in and everything, because you can suffer absolutely devastating losses within minutes, literally. And now we're going to move on to an amazing story that I read out of Australia. Deeper Blue is reporting that the short-nosed sea snake is not extinct. After 23 years of not spotting this snake, they've spotted some of them. They were doing a deep sea expedition where I think they were like 220 feet down, where they found one of these snakes that were believed to previously have been extinct. And you know, I absolutely love hearing stuff like this. I don't know how many times through the years, I think recently meaning like 5-10 years ago maybe, we had like a woodpecker that was extinct that was right out here. It was on the light pole, pecking on the light pole. And after doing a little bit of research and reading and talking to some local bird people about it, I found out that it was actually known to not be extinct, but it was just a recent thing. After so many years, they thought it was extinct, and then they started finding them again. And it kind of makes you wonder, out of, you know, all the wildlife every year that just seems to be declining, and you know, that extinction list it grows all the time. It just makes you wonder, maybe these things are smarter and so a lot of them are just moving somewhere else. I mean, obviously a sea snake has a lot more to hide under than, you know, most land-dwelling creatures, because we're all on land. But it just really makes you think, what is actually extinct and what is just moved to a different spot. Anyway, guys, that's going to be all your news for this Friday. If you'd like to read more about any of these stories, that link's right down below here in the description. And as always, if you're still watching now, you know what's going on in the reptile world. Be good to each other, and we'll see you Monday.